What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so you guys may remember the video I did earlier this week, I believe it was, where I listed my top 10 players, and those top 10 players, I gave what I thought were their deficiencies, which obviously wasn't that much for the most part. Shout out to the brother Aram for the $10 donation via the PayPal. And he asked a question because it relates to that video. He said, I saw your recent top 10 vid and their deficiencies. In your opinion, if your top 5 were playing in today's league with the lax rules regarding ball handling, no hand checking, no defense, shooting more threes, etc., what would they be averaging as far as scoring, rebounding, assists, and championships and MVPs? Thank you. Now, look, when it comes to championships and MVPs, it's almost an impossible metric to put out there because there's too many moving parts and there's too many variables that are not known. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of difficult. Like, for instance, if you ask me, do I think the 1973 Boston Celtics could have won a championship if John Havlicek hadn't got hurt? Well, that's an easy question to answer. Yes. They went 68-14. Ultimately, they lost the playoffs to the New York Knicks. I think it was in the conference finals, but Havlicek had gotten hurt. So it's reasonable to ask that question, come to the conclusion, yeah, because the only real variable is Havlicek's injury. But with this, there's so many different moving parts with that, it's hard for me to put a number on championships. I'll just say this. All of them, if playing in this era, I believe, had legitimate chances to win multiple championships and multiple MVPs. Now, but it is a little bit easier. It's kind of sort of put a number on what they might do statistically. It's kind of still a ballpark figure. But look, let's start with my top 5. My top 5 is Wilt Chamberlain. I know people are like, well, I don't got to group. Well, that's just me. That's just how I feel. Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Now, 10 years ago, I had LeBron in my top 5, but now I know better. Let's start with Larry Bird. First of all, I think Larry Bird would absolutely thrive in today's NBA. A guy that could shoot, a guy that could pass, in a league that is that's prolific when it comes to shooting threes, and this positionless basketball now. So you could have Bird primarily guarding, fours. Because he's not the most athletic guy. I think Bird would kill it. Absolutely. With his basketball IQ, with his shooting ability, and now all of a sudden put him in a situation where he's actually practicing threes. He didn't really practice threes until the end of his career. You know what I'm saying? He just sort of just shot them. And he shot them at a pretty good clip, 37.6%. But imagine him actually playing in a league or a time period where he's actually practicing those threes. This is a guy that averaged 24 points a night, despite the fact that he played with Robert Parrish, played with Kevin McHale, So, this is a guy that I think if you put him out in today's league on a really good team, I mean, I'm talking like a championship level team. I don't see how he doesn't average a triple. I mean, honestly, he could average a triple double. But let's just be conservative here. On a championship team, I could easily see Larry Bird averaging something like 28, 10, 9, Jokic numbers. One thing about it is, I think Bird would ironically, even though he's not noted as a defender, he probably would average maybe close to 2 steals, or just about 2 steals. You know what I'm saying? I think he would absolutely dominate in today's league. Multiple triple doubles. You know what I'm saying? Bird offensively was much more complete than people like to make him out to be, man. I mean, people make him out to be complete. Don't get me wrong, but this is a guy that had the mid range. He had the 3-pointer. He had, you know what I'm saying? He could post you up. Obviously, he could score with his back to the basket. He could score with either hand if need be. Finish with either hand. The only thing about it is, he wasn't the fastest, and he didn't have the greatest ball handling ability. So not the greatest, but in a league that, predicates that, I think he'd be better with that. So that's just how I look at that. Now, Magic Johnson, I tend to think he would be even better than he was when he played. I think he'd be even better. Look at it like this. Giannis is a guy that cannot really, up until just the past couple of years, Giannis was a guy that cannot shoot, right? Now, Giannis has improved exponentially from the mid-range. He's now in the mid-40 percentile as far as knocking down the mid-range shot. He gets absolutely no credit for that whatsoever. Despite the fact that, quote-unquote, Giannis can't shoot, he's averaging better than 30 points a night, about 11, 12 rebounds, and probably around about 5, 6 assists, right? That's what he's doing. The guy that can't shoot. Now, Magic Johnson, on the other hand, of course, he doesn't have Giannis's athleticism, and he doesn't have Giannis's size. But Magic Johnson was a guy that he had size, right? He had great dribbling ability. He had great ball handling ability for his era. I think he'd be even better today, obviously. And it's one of the top, probably 2 passers the game has ever seen, right? Top 2 passers in a league where passing is predicated. So you got this guy who I think will be a terror in a fast break in today's NBA. Driving kicks. There's more spacing today. So I think he would be a guy who, could be more dangerous. I think he would get a lot of passing lane steals. And if you think that's cap, remember Magic Johnson led the league in steals twice. And I just think that he would, in many ways, be a really great player. Remember, this is a guy that shot, after the first couple years of his career, 85 to 90% from the line. And that's another thing. Usually players who shoot an excellent percentage from the free throw line can become good 3-point shooters. You know what I'm saying? So I think that ultimately Magic Johnson would be phenomenal. I think he would still put up big numbers, probably better offensive numbers. Because now you don't have those big plotting centers down low. You don't have those big plotting centers. You have these, the big men are quote unquote more athletic, but as I said before, they're more spread out. They're really more power forwards masquerading as centers, and they're more perimeter oriented scorers. Everything's pushed out to the perimeter. So I don't see why and how Magic Johnson don't, get more scoring attempts at the rim. That's how I look at it. When you got a guy that's big with great passing ability, size, passing ability, high basketball IQ, great touch as far as shooting the basketball, at least from the free throw line, he's going to be dominant. So number 3, I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, look, man. As we've said before, there's no real centers in the league right now. The only center you have right now, like dominant center, is Jokic. And you have Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis doesn't really want to play center. Let's just keep Davis there. And then Embiid, you can't count on him, you know what I'm saying? So just from a lack of competition, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is going to dominate. Now, he wasn't the strongest offensive rebounder, I've said that before. He wasn't the strongest player. But 7'2", you know what I'm saying? I think he had a 7'8" wingspan. Most unstoppable shot in the history of the NBA. Decent free throw shooter. Very good defender. Tremendous shot blocker. So I think that he would be great. Michael Jordan in today's NBA, I mean, we've already rehashed this before. 40-some points, probably, on a bad team. Still leading the league in scoring on good teams. Be even more dominant. I damn sure believe that he will be even more efficient. His efficiency. Oh, that's what I meant to say, too. With Magic. Magic Johnson's efficiency would be through the roof, too. I think Magic Johnson's efficiency would be 55, 56, 57%. Jordan's efficiency would probably be consistently over 50% every year. I do believe that Jordan is right, though, about one thing. I sense that one thing that he would struggle with, the only thing he would struggle with is because of the nature of the game, he had to make adjustments. I think he might struggle with getting into foul trouble to a certain extent because of his aggression on that end. You know what I'm saying? That's a possibility. But all these guys will be dominant, man. You know what I'm saying? Wilt Chamberlain, same thing. And we all know Wilt can play different styles. Wilt can play the Bill Russell style basketball. He can be the all-around guy that he was with the Philadelphia 76ers. Or he could be the primary dominant scorer that he was with the Philadelphia Warriors, doing things we had never seen before. Me personally, I like the best of both worlds of Wilt. I like the Philadelphia 76ers version, where he could score in the post, but show that he was an all-around team player, great defensive player, tremendous rebounder, great facilitator. I think that's when he won 3 MVPs in a row. And, in today's league, imagine a guy with Wilt Chamberlain's athleticism, with his strength, with his pedigree, playing against these guys. Can you imagine that? It'd be a joke. Like he said before, it'd be a joke, man. But I don't think Wilt in today's game, I don't see him averaging 50 or 70 because teams just aren't going to let a guy shoot the ball that much. Will had seasons where he was shooting the ball 35, 39 times a night. That's not going to happen in today's league. But I think that his efficiency would be crazy. Um, 60+%. Wilt's the guy I like to try to figure out, man. You know what I'm saying, as far as stats is concerned. But even if he was playing like Bill Russell, I don't see how he don't average like 17 points, you know, 15 rebounds, 4.5 blocks a night. I mean, just crazy numbers. You know what I'm saying? Yes, his Achilles heel would be his free throw shooting, as usual. But, that's pretty much what I see. You know what I'm saying? I think that these guys will all still be great. Like I said, as far as winning MVPs and championships, that would still come. I just can't put a number on it, but I think it would still come. Absolutely. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.